The city presents you, Porto, the city in Portuguese. Porto, which also known as Oporto in English, is the second largest city in Portugal after Lisbon. It is recognized as a GAM-level global city by the Globalization and World Cities, GaWC, study group. Located along the Douro River estuary in northern Portugal, Porto is one of the oldest European centers, and its historical core was proclaimed a World Heritage Site by UNESCO in 1996. One of Portugal's internationally famous exports, Porto wine, is named for Porto, since the metropolitan area, and in particular the caves of Vila Nova de Gaia, were responsible for the packaging, transport and export of the fortified wine. In 2014, Porto was elected the Best European Destination by the Best European Destinations Agency. Porto time zone is UTC 0. For summer is UTC+1. 351 is the Portugal telephone code and 22 is the region code of Porto City. Euro currency is using in Porto City. Porto is covering an area of approximately 45 km². It is known as the capital of the north of the country, which located on the north bank of the Douro River. The river winds through deep valleys flanked by steep escarpments either side. There are abundant hills which boast the city's architectural wealths on the north side. Douro River is the part of city's scenery where you can find its green sloping banks dotted with vineyard and olive groves that has been tended for thousands of years. Porto are the city that connect its own country to the Europe. Porto climate. Porto features mainly a Mediterranean climate. Its climate shares many characteristics with the coastal south, warm, dry summers and mild, rainy winters. Unlike the south, however, cool and rainy North Atlantic interludes interrupt the dry season and the season's average length is shorter, with 3 dry months. Summers are typically sunny with average temperatures between 16 degrees Celsius and 27 degrees Celsius but can rise to as high as 38 degrees Celsius during occasional heat waves. Winter temperatures typically range between 5 degrees Celsius during morning and 15 degrees Celsius in the afternoon but rarely drop below 0 degrees Celsius at night. The weather is often rainy for long stretches, although prolonged sunny periods do occur. Language: Portuguese is the official language spoken in Porto. English is, however, spoken by plenty of locals, not to mention the fact people who work in tourism speak English fluently. On the other hand, knowing a bit of Portuguese is definitely an advantage, since thus visitors have the opportunity to get off the beaten tracks and discover the less popular tourist opportunities of Porto. Porto population: the population in Porto was about 2.3 million. The data was collected in 2012. Economy: Porto never rivaled Lisbon in economic power, but as the most important city in the heavily industrialized northwest, many of the largest Portuguese corporations from diverse economic sectors. The country's biggest exporter, Portugal, has one of its two refineries near the city, in Lissa da Palmeira, 13 kilometers, and the second biggest, Cuminda, now bankrupt, has its only factory also near the city in Mindelo, 26 kilometers. Porto hosts a popular Portuguese newspaper, Jornal de Notícias. The economic relations between the city of Porto and the upper Douro River have been documented since the Middle Ages. However, they were greatly deepened in the modern ages. The Porto metropolitan area had a GDP amounting to $43.0 billion, and $21,674 per capita. Education: the city has a large number of public and private elementary and secondary schools, as well as kindergartens and nurseries. Due to the depopulation of the city's interior, however, the number of students has dropped substantially in the last decade, forcing a closure of some institutions. Porto has several institutions of higher education, the largest one being the state-managed University of Porto. For foreigners wishing to study Portuguese in the city, there are a number of options. As the most popular city in Portugal for Erasmus students, most universities have facilities to assist foreigners in learning the language. There are also several private learning institutions in the city. Transportation: the road system capacity is augmented by the Via da Cintra Internal Rate 20, an internal highway connected to several motorways and city exits, complementing the Circunvalas 4-lane peripheric road, which borders the north of the city and connects the eastern side of the city to the Atlantic shore. During the 20th century, major bridges were built, Rabida Bridge, which at its opening had the biggest concrete supporting arch in the world, and connects north and south shores of the Douro on the west side of the city. There were many transportation are using in Porto City. Francisco de Sá Carneiro Airport is the airport in Porto City. Beside that, there was a cruising which was opened at the port of Lixos, which north of the city in Matosinhos. Beside that, public transport also play an important role in the city. Those are railways, subway or light rail, buses and trams. Tourism: over the last years, Porto has been experiencing an important touristic expansion, mainly caused by the Ryanair hub at Francisco de Sá Carneiro Airport. Porto won the European Best Destination 2012 and 2014 awards. Foods: Porto is replete with all sorts of eateries. From cheap and down-to-earth stalls and restaurants to expensive and stylish eating venues, Porto caters for all sorts of tastes and pockets. The traditional Portuguese cuisine is understandably well represented, but the international cuisine is not overlooked at all. So, depending on one's mood to make new gastronomic experiences, Porto is a destination as excellent as all the other national metropolises, where one can either dine in style or have a less expensive and yet rewarding and hearty meal. Here are some of the traditional local food in Porto. Tripas. Bacalhau. Port wine. Security: Porto is a safe city to visit and has very few of the social problems associated with a city of its size. Most tourists will not experience any issues or problems while on holiday to Porto or touring through the north of Portugal. The very small portion of visitors who experience any type of crime will be from opportunity thefts, which can be prevented by some very simple precautions and actions. Always place wallets safely in bags or deep in pockets. Do not flash cash or other expensive items. Only visit cash machines and ATMs during the day. Do not wear excessively expensive jewelry while walking around the city. Do not leave expensive or potentially expensive items visible in cars. While in busy areas, or metro, be aware of your wallet and people around you. Thank you for watching. If you like our videos, please hit like button to support our channel. And subscribe to our channel to see further new video that we will upload every day. Also don't forget to like our Facebook page. The City. Please have a nice day.